Okay, talking about FreeCAD, architecture, aquaponics greenhouse. So Yorick, I wanted to ask you this. I looked at the guide, and for a noob on FreeCAD, which I represent gladly, I can't get it. There's a lot of questions I have. Like, what we probably want to do eventually is I think the quality is really nice. You go through a lot of stuff, and I'm sure with every it's great work. It's I think it's the my summary of it is that all the capacity exists. It's can we transfer it to people who are new users effectively. So I have confidence in the software itself, but this is where we want to spend more energy on documenting the how-tos. Like for example, like you tell me the IFC workbench or whatever, the IFC capacity, I don't know what to do with it. Or just like setting up I can't even open up, like without clear instructions on FreeCAD, I can't even open up the first screen. Um, because when I open up FreeCAD, I can't, when I don't open from a file, I can't get to the workbenches even. So, um, there's little things that are trivial, but I mean just something that prevents somebody from using it. But anyway, I think we can solve it. So I was going to ask you, here's my thoughts. What's your schedule like? Because if possible, I'd like to get you to work with us and put energy into you teaching us how to, well, basically continuing what you're doing and actually getting onto the aquaponics simple structure, because I think it would be really valuable if we can open source that absolutely. Like just being pretty fundamentalist in our approach that, okay, we were absolutely using open source tools and a very transparent process. But I think it's really necessary to do that because otherwise we'll be messing around with not having access to software and the techniques. So I'd like to
Yeah.
pretty much dive in so that the whole community benefits from it, so that it's going to be a little harder right now. It might take us a bit more time to get there, but I think we should do that because otherwise we'll do the greenhouse. It won't be documented well. We won't have the proper support. Can't really build from it too much, right? So
Yeah.
so I'd like to invest the time that it takes to do it. What's your availability like after like these couple of weeks? As you said, you pretty much got projects going on.
Yeah. This week I'm still buried down in stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Won't work for me.
Yeah.
Next week I'm in holidays
Okay.
out of here, and after that normally I should have time.
Okay. So I would.
But
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think what you guys are wanting are two different things. I mean, porting things to FreeCAD and documenting things are
Yeah.
not necessarily the same thing.
Sorry.
And
Which is so documenting and using FreeCAD are not the same things.
I mean, you can have one without the other. I mean, we can do both at the same time, of course. But
Documenting or using. Um, well, but okay. So let's back up to that statement. The question is who's using it, right? If we want
yeah,
ourselves to use it, yeah, we can do that. But the way we roll at OSC is trying to get the lower the barrier so that actually everybody could use it, so that when we have something that we can work on, we can honestly invite everybody to join that process. So that's why I would
yeah,
say that, yeah, from the OSC perspective, you really have to do both if you talk about a scalable process. So,
mm,
that's the kind of experiment we're doing. We're saying, can we actually do better? Because I have a suspicion that once we actually get to that point, we're actually going to see much better results. So we want to test it out.
yeah, yeah. I believe so too.
Yeah. So I would suggest that to pursue the greater participation. Say we finally got the nice blueprints of the greenhouse. We actually built it in order to foster. I mean, so yes, a lot of people are going to replicate it. I think there's going to be a lot of interest in it, but we can extend the amount of hackability when we have the full documentation in place. So,
Yes, definitely.
for which
Yeah,
reason, if we talk about, because I think here the potential is huge. The potential is actually, I looked at some basic numbers. It takes 225 square feet from first principles using documented techniques to feed one person like a full diet. And that's, you know, I think the potential of this greenhouse is huge. I think if we can really shake the world with it, I think the potential is really high to do some breakthrough work for food security and open source and all that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, so
yeah, but that's kind of the philosophy behind it. That's kind of why I look at it, just to kind of fill you in on approach. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, certainly. I mean, just the thing is, um, yeah, FreeCAD is not easy, does not have an easy access at the moment.
Yep.
It's something that's not ready, not finished, and it's still pretty beta software, and so it's not easy for new users.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this can be a big opportunity to like try to build something that's easily shareable, document the way we're doing it so other people can get into it
Mm-hmm.
and understand what's going on and how to use it, and etc. But let's say you're adding difficulty to the thing,
Adding what?
and I think that's no problem. You see, just something you must be conscious that this is going to be a slower process. There are going to be some little problems, like you just mentioned, and that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, it's definitely something that will take more time that you would do with more conventional tools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And well, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's for you guys to decide.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
for reference, when you use FreeCAD, so do you actually do the design work in FreeCAD? You don't use Revit or something?
no. What I often do, that's a bit why I made the architecture workbench in that sense, is that I usually model a lot in Blender
Mm-hmm.
because it's faster than FreeCAD. Blender is a mesh modeler, a bit like SketchUp, and things go pretty fast in there. And so when you deal with simple shapes, like prismatic shapes, shapes that don't have curves, um, modeling that in Blender works quite well.
Uh-huh.
And so you can do that as well, or a mix of both.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say so. I'm not opposed to that. I think this is a great opportunity to involve the Blender community and the FreeCAD community, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Because Blender would also get us the nice models, nice modeling.
Yes, and Blender is pretty much faster than FreeCAD.
Mm-hmm.
And so I often do that because when you're like designing architecture from scratch, you often it's better if you play with shapes than if you already put the walls at the right position. So for that, it's the same as when you're sketching with a pen and a paper. It
Mm-hmm.
goes very fast, and so your ideas flow easily,
How
more easy.
fast can you model in Blender compared to SketchUp?
Same same
Really?
speed.
Oh, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think that's better than about 5 years ago?
No, it was already powerful 5 years ago. The thing is, SketchUp is easy to get to grasp for new users.
Yeah.
Blender is not. So to become as fast in Blender as in SketchUp, you need much more learning.
When you say
While in
much more,
SketchUp, you're fast pretty quickly.
um, how many hours for basic level, like to catch up to SketchUp speed? How many hours of practice do you need extra? I mean,
I
like a
can
week extra?
I cannot say. I cannot say.
It's hard to
That it,
quantify, yeah. But I mean, we can say that in the SketchUp, people can follow a simple 1 hour exercise to get like basic ability to do stuff. In Blender, that might extend to a few hours.
yeah. Not also that if you guys are already using SketchUp, you can do the same with SketchUp. So you can do something more like step-by-step conversion between SketchUp and FreeCAD, and continue to model in SketchUp and import stuff in FreeCAD and convert it. It works. It works quite well if you model correctly in SketchUp. That means if you do like closed objects, well-modeled objects without holes, without foldings, and if you model cleanly in SketchUp, you can easily build architectural pieces or parts on top of your SketchUp objects.
Uh-huh.
As easy as Blender. The difference is that in Blender it's easier, I think, to control that your objects are clean. In SketchUp is a bit hard sometimes. You often do like small mistakes and you don't see them.
Yeah. Do you use the SketchUp toolchain as well?
Not anymore, but I used it a lot before.
Uh-huh.
But today I'm faster with Blender, so
Mm-hmm.
I have SketchUp for the case I need it. But for example, to import objects or that kind of stuff, but I don't use it anymore.
Very nice. Okay. Yeah, no, I see the challenges and opportunities. I think the opportunities are great. As from the open source perspective, the path is clear.
Yeah, I believe so too. And it's not small. It's not a small undertaking.
Okay. So
Um,
here's one other thought to bring in.
hmm,
It could perhaps be that in one way we use top level assistants like yourself, people who are already familiar with the tools, to generate the
hmm.
libraries, from which point the world can manipulate them. What do you think about that approach?
Yeah, I don't know what I don't see very well what your workflow is. I mean, um, you are several people working on those projects, right?
We have, like we have different people coming in and out. It's there's some people that continue. A lot of people come in and out for a project. We've used everything, all kinds of software from SketchUp
Hmm.
to free, not so much, a little bit. I mean, a little bit of everything. But the problem is that we don't have a workflow. Someone does
Uh-huh.
something and it's there, and a lot of times we miss simple steps like, okay, we can't even export this file to some other format like the brick press. The original file is an Libre design, and we've got the step files. But every time something, like you go to a transformation from uh, from say a Libre
Hmm.
to the step, and you lose all the connections, right? So you lose all the part
Uh-huh.
assemblies. So you have to kind of like start again and all that. We don't have a uniform toolchain defined at all. So I think it would be good to the I think the strength of the project could come in when we say, okay, use this
Yeah.
tool, learn it, assuming that we're
Hmm.
willing to teach people and others are willing to learn. And I think that's actually it could be an opportunity. It's like, okay, we're going to teach you guys how to do this, which would
Hmm.
be which is a great way to go too. It takes more, but it's a more
Yeah.
creative approach. And it's correct in terms of the long-term perspective of teaching people skills using free
Yeah.
tools.
Yeah. That's true.
Right. So in a deep sense, I mean, I can just tell you right now is, you know, basically what happens is when nobody dives into it because they're afraid to dive into it because there's always a block because it's
Yeah.
harder. There's that trap that we fall into, right? That the
Uh-huh.
needed stuff never ends up getting developed.
Hmm. Yeah.
To give you a good example with the CNC torch table, we've built a prototype like 6 years ago. To date, there is no open source toolchain for the controls, and we're
Hmm.
working with Carusa, and they're gonna go with closed source controls because they
Uh-huh.
just don't have the time right now to develop the open source toolchain. And
Yeah.
that trap I see consistently the open source community is falling into, and we want to make a stand on that. So kind of like
Yes.
affirms that, okay, if we just keep dilly-dallying and not getting the solid solution, it just puts a huge delay, an obstacle on the whole community.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but as far as the workflow, I mean, look, as far as the workflow, if we could, the quicker we get, I mean, what I do see is the power in is the modular approach, where there's a few modules that we test and work out that we know they work, and people can start manipulating that at a basic level, and then as they start manipulating them and making machines, like for example, the tractor is a great case. So when I talk about
Yeah.
the tractor, I'm talking about the micro tractor, bulldozer, keyline plow, and backhoe because they are so similar, and power cube, you know, because they've got so much similar design in them that when you master one, you can remix basically the different versions of the tractor from micro to bulldozer are just different instances of the same modules put together in a creative way. So that way we focus on creating the assemblies of these, and that becomes the design challenge. It's no longer, do we have a power unit, do we have a wheel, do we have a frame? No, those are there, we already know those. Now it's about, okay, how do you actually make them work when you put these together so that you can go from a 2,000 pound micro tractor, like the one we're working on. Have you seen the image of that?
I'm looking at it right now.
The tracked micro tractor.
Uh, I've seen the tractor. I haven't seen the
Here,
micro
let me
tractor.
show you this. Um, Here you go. So that, and we're also looking at putting up a gasifier, an 8-inch wide by 36 by 36-inch gasifier, and the back of that. So we're running this. We're currently planning a workshop on this. So we're going to run this on gasified wood, actually charcoal, to be specific. So
Well,
yeah, so that's coming up. But basically, you have that same design. You put a bunch of, so that machine weighs 2,000 pounds. We're also interested in building a 36,000 pound bulldozer based on this
uh-huh.
module. So so you see, it's we've got the power cube nailed. For this project, for the micro track, we're developing the tracks. We don't have the tracks right now,
Mm.
but we've got the other components like loaders and buckets and wheel drive systems, hydraulic control panels. So it's a highly modular approach that once we get the modules in place, then we can have people, we have a child just putting together these power cubes and stacking them. You literally stack 6 of these power cubes for a bulldozer, and it's actually going
Uh-huh.
to work. That's our current strategy. We're testing the limits of modularity. Does it make
Yeah.
sense to have a single power unit that's flexible like that? Can you actually put together these little micro tracks into a bigger machine? So we're doing some testing on scalability of the system. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, but from that perspective, it's very useful that we have modules that we play with, that we develop as soon as we can. So you don't have to know Blender or FreeCAD at the level that you do, but just manipulating objects like in SketchUp modules that you can put
Yeah.
together. That would be very useful for, that's something we can have anybody just start playing with
Yeah.
an hour lesson, and that's what I believe will make the project rise to something from the engineering, FreeCAD geeks and all of that to absolute popular consumption, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's our mindset on it. That's the framework within which uh, we're considering it. So yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes. Certainly. And indeed, that's totally adaptable to the house. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
same.
Same system. So the word on the street is August of 2016. We're gonna have a major event here at Factory Farm where we build that certain ecology of the house, micro house with aquaponics and energy system. So you show a food, energy, housing, production system that's 100% open source. The first half of the civilization starter kit, including our own energy. We might have solar concentrator by that time. So basically just building that entire system as a product ecology of things that you can build from the dirt and twigs under your feet. Yeah. Potentially
pretty
even,
cool.
yeah, I mean potentially melting our steel by that time, because the induction furnace is in the works by Joshua Pierce of the Michigan Open Source Tech Group. That's in the works. We might be rolling our own steel at that time too. So that'll be pretty crazy. From biomass pellets off our farm, showing totally closed loop material cycles and
amazing.
Kind of, yeah. So it's worth doing, and it's worth taking a deep approach so that this goes viral.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's cool, and certainly I can help in several ways. Thing is, what you guys would be wanting me to do?
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah. So what I would like to ask you to do is, so that once you get freed up, we actually actually hire you to do this work. Can we do that on a pretty much, so you commit your time to that for until we solve it? And the first exercise would be the simple exercise of getting the modular greenhouse design using the panels that you've already pretty much done. We've got to get the interfaces between them and various details. But the concept is simple, with about three main panel types, and then various interconnectors. We can build greenhouse structures like this, right? So we want to get the detail on those, get the details worked out, and but more than so in this process, that's the physical product, but the other product is the education product. As we do this, we actually document it so that I can replicate it and others can replicate it.
Yes.
And I would like to call in Blender and FreeCAD for this task. Which
I can do that, and I can model the thing, and also document it, of course.
Yeah.
The question, I'm looking now at the microhouse documents that you have. That kind of that level is pretty much doable.
Yeah, let me get you a link for the documentation on the microhouse. Microhouse, how to. Which means that we're not gonna do the workshop in June, but do you think we can do anything beginning of July? Or is that too early?
No, I don't know actually what kind of level you guys need to reach.
Well, we need to reach a level of pretty much complete detail on the greenhouse, but you have to recognize that the greenhouse is a very simple structure. It's basically three main structural components, and the rest is interconnection detail.
Yes.
Super basic foundation, stem wall. I mean, we can consider 100% panel, or we can actually consider that the stem wall in front is a CEB. It's brick, so we actually get the thermal mass in there. So, I mean, the first implementation would be just plain panels. Don't worry about the CEBs, since CEBs not everyone has. But CEBs, compressed earth blocks.
Okay.
So here's the instructionals off of this page. Click on the roof panels is where you get those roof panels. That on that page, click on number 6. On that page, click number 6 for that's the roof panels I showed you. I think you've seen that. So, and then
yeah, you showed me that indeed.
Yeah. I mean, that's all we have. I actually put up a web page on a hydronic system. Like, actually, we want to integrate. So here's this other page I want to show you. Open source hydronics. But this is something we've got up our sleeves. The hydronic control panel, which I see happening. Like, I'd like to do that for the water heating in the greenhouse. Like, you don't have to worry about the floor, but the floor currently we're considering as having a trench in the floor for the water for the fish. 4 cubic meters, about 1,000 gallons. 1,000 gallon is the size what we need about. But yeah, if you look at that's what we've done. We've got experience with that. You can see the brick walls and stuccoed brick wall behind the control panel for the hydronics. But we're actually going to use this, basically run the hydronic heating from this stove into the greenhouse, unless we decide, yeah. I mean, there's details. We're working on a gasifier and heat exchangers too, for our own open source stoves. Yeah.
At this point, everything can be gathered inside a model, right? But yeah, there are obviously a lot of different pieces. Yeah, what I don't get exactly is what up to what level you guys want to go.
Can you explain that?
I mean, you can do very, very detailed blueprints of this, which would be like the standard way. If you would like, if you would make a project that you had to deliver to some constructor, you would do that. So all the blueprints are there, and the guy do their business with that, and that's it. And so you just basically draw everything the best way you can, so there are less problems, and that's it. Now you guys have a kind of alternative way of building. Like, you don't just deliver the paper to the constructor and
no, we're supposed to do that. We never did that. That's what where we want to get to make this. We want to see this replicated. If it's good enough, it's going to be replicated worldwide, right? So,
yes.
But it's not getting replicated because we don't have that right now, right? Our documentation is scattered, and we haven't drawn up those explicit blueprints because myself, Jonathan, and Marshall, other people drew up the last Microhouse 4 blueprints, and we kind of had it in our heads, but there were certainly issues when we didn't have enough plans to guide the people properly. A lot of it was, we didn't go to the level of finish that we wanted to because we didn't have time. So
okay, but you would like to have those
absolutely
blueprints.
Yes,
that's the idea.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So that we can now start talking about somebody else being a manager of this project, the construction manager. During this event, we give them, hey, here's the blueprints.
Yeah.
You do that, and then we can actually scale the builds. Because right now, part of our non-scalability is that we don't have people, trained people, and we don't have blueprints to give them.
You basically explain how to do it.
Yeah, pretty much. We look at the 3D model. I mean, there's procedural steps too. Like, if you look at all those things, there's procedural instructions, but they're just conceptual procedures. They're not technical. What do you call it? In a build, yeah, but look at this. I mean, in a typical build, people produce technical drawings, and a general contractor says, I'm going to take it from there. The architect never tells you how to build the entire structure, right?
That's true.
Right. So we do the same thing. We provide the concept, but and we have the full detail drawn out in various drawings, pretty decently full detail. Like, for example, the roof panel instructional. And then we get out there and we do it. Now, I think the highest efficiency comes when the person who's designing actually understands the build too, so that it's designed for build, right? We get
Yes.
an extra level of efficiency from that, because otherwise someone's designing something that's very hard to build, like I would imagine is, well, I mean, not imagine, I know that's the case. People don't design things to be built as a general rule. Only the
Yeah.
really good architects might
Yes.
might do that. Otherwise,
Yes.
you're paying a lot for inefficiency
Yeah.
as a standard practice. So we want to cut
I
that
mean,
out through the open
yeah,
source.
that's totally true.
Right. And we've seen that
Uh,
very clearly in machine builds. I mean, certainly, I mean, as the story goes, the businessman is not the engineer is not the designer is not the builder is not the user. That gives you a huge realm of non-human centered design. Right?
uh, you have a SketchUp model of that,
Yeah,
the
that sketch.
latest house,
Yeah,
the
the
complete
house
house.
certainly. So
I can't
so if
find
you
it anymore.
right, so yeah, let me give you this presentation on this page. The overall house should be, let's see. Yeah, it's this page here. Just, I mean, here's the file. No, wrong. Where did that go? Um,
Okay.
it's here. That's where it is. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
So the first was there's a file version history there on that wiki, on our wiki page. September 19 is the file you want. Feature lockdown. It's a lockdown version.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so the model was partially complete. It wasn't super complete, but it showed enough that you can see how because it's modular, if you draw one, you know how everything else works, except there's detail missing on some of the interfaces, which we need to do better. Like for example, one thing we learned, you can't put the panels next to each other without putting some form of sealer between them because of the irregularities. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like you want to put some kind of insulation or some kind of a padding between the panels to make the roof uh, higher performance for thermal insulation because the cracks are
Okay.
are there.
Uh-huh.
And it's hard to you can fill them in afterwards, but it's much harder than if you did it right off. Okay, so details like that. But
I see.
the basic design principle is we had the microhouse standing there already, and then we put the panels on and built a new addition to that. And with the greenhouse, the house is standing already there, and we're gonna add the greenhouse, basically the sloped structure to the front of the microhouse.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. If you want the microhouse, actually, I can give you the a detail of the first and second, because the our house is made of modules that have been built in separate workshops, and we have files standalone for the first section, which was just 144 square feet, and then the second section, which was another, and then we built the
Uh-huh.
section in between the two sections, so it was like three sections, and then the fourth one was the long structure in the back of that house, which is the 50 by 16 feet, the big with the panels. That's what we
Uh-huh.
built in a single workshop. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is totally replicable in FreeCAD with the advantage that it might be cooler, easier to get the final drawings from there, like annotated drawings
From where?
from a FreeCAD model.
Yeah.
More, I think maybe that might be interesting. Uh, Maybe it's possible to import this SketchUp model in FreeCAD. I would try that when I'm back from holidays.
Okay.
Import this in FreeCAD and start from there, and then go like switching pieces.
Yeah. Yep. That'd be great. Let's see. Let me point you to the Microhouse 1 and 2. Let's see. Okay, so by the way, here's the, if you want to look at, that's our, actually there's links to all this. So there's Microhouse 1. Yeah, it actually tells you a good overview of how the phases came about. Oh yeah, that's actually really good. You can see the, yeah, yep. Let's see, 3D CAD and Microhouse 1.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Challenge for you. Can you go to the Dozuki, which I just gave you? Go to Microhouse 1.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Click on it, and then go to Overall. Microhouse Development. No, go to Microhouse Modules. And then go to Overall Microhouse.
Okay.
And there, in the spreadsheet, you have, there's, man, see Official Development Board, it takes you back to the wiki. Did you see that?
Official? Yes.
Yep, and then item number 9 is 3D CAD, so that's the SketchUp file. If you click on link to work product. Can you find that? Number 9 3D CAD.
Yes.
And then it takes you to the wiki page, which has the links and files.
Yeah.
So that's one.
Oh, yeah, that's a good start. Very good start. Yeah.
And you can do the same for Microhouse 2. Let me see if I can find it. So that actually worked. That was good. Let's see if we can find it for Microhouse 2. So here's Microhouse version 2. So that was, let's see, modules.
Modules.
Oh, yeah, overall development. See the development board. Yeah. Looks like it's there. SketchUp, yep. Let's see. That's 21 August 2014. Save that SketchUp 8. Okay, yeah. Yep.
I don't see where's the I'm on the development board.
Yeah, it would be
Wait.
on a development board. So you clicked on the overall development board. It's actually the first link at the very top. It's included.
Okay.
Right. File.
Mm-hmm.
You see right at the top the SketchUp file?
Yes, yes. Downloading it now.
We're trying to clean this all up. I mean, actually we decided that Dozuki is not a long-term solution because it's not open source, so we need to eliminate it, because we're kind of going to this Dozuki, like the instructionals platform, which uses an open format for storing data, but the platform itself is not open source, so it's not a long-term solution for OSE.
I didn't know that platform.
Yeah, it's what iFixit uses. Did you ever hear of iFixit? It's instructionals for how to fix things. Yeah, they use that. We met the people at the open source documentation jam, and they suggested it, and it looked good at the time. Yeah. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah. So what we should do is continue this discussion and go from there. Yeah. But the problem statement is to define, basically, to get the greenhouse as. I could write down the specs, but the specs for now are that we are working in this particular case. We're working in a case where you can add the greenhouse to the front of an existing structure. That's phase one. Phase two would be adding some more, just extending the model so it can be a standalone structure for some people,
Yeah.
even though the standalone does not make sense as much sense energy wise, because we're using the greenhouse to heat our own house because it's got good solar catchment in the winter, and we might as well put that energy that we're heating the house with into growing plants instead of just heating space. So we're integrating the thermal and food growing issues here. And this comes out of our dog fooding operation. The stove burns a lot of heat, a lot of wood. We want to do better next year. Probably we'd like to. Our goal is to reduce our heating needs by about 70% by having this greenhouse in front. So like really minimal, and then eventually replace that with solar thermal, complete solar thermal. Probably that's the way we're looking at it right now.
Cool.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, funny because it's a long time I don't dig anymore into heating problems because it's pretty much inexistent here in Brazil.
Right. That's right. That's a funny thing, but yeah, I mean the tropics have it made. They don't need the greenhouse.
You might need sometimes air conditioning for cooling,
Right.
but it's not. It's also not something that you can pretty much live without it. And so yeah, but that's totally different problem.
Right. Mm-hmm. Actually, if you look at this, let me show you this foundation concept and MH2 expansion. We should have these files, so Chris Reinhardt would have these files if they're any useful for you. That's a different model that I believe uses the... So here's another... Where's our window? Where is this thing? So this model is were some other conceptual designs built around Microhouse 1, and we want to... So that would be a different file than the one for the one I showed you before, because that's basically when we took this on, we didn't start from this for the back section. Yeah, but that's basically what we did. We did that. That was Microhouse 1. Then to the second one. Yeah, that's pretty much what we did. We did the section in the middle after that, and then we built the back section. So that all happened at end of 2013 and in 2014. Starting with, yeah, I mean, we moved in here just last March. And we had that one little unit, and now we have a much more livable space, very comfortable. And the microhouse idea is very tight. It's not... if you're indoor, and it's tight on space. It's definitely tight on space. So expanding that in a modular way worked very well.
And that's cool because you have like there are many things possible, and yeah, many things to do with FreeCAD with that.
Mm-hmm. And you can see the inklings of the modularity. Like if the detail is correct, then
Yes.
filling in sections is easy. I mean, for us, I mean, we didn't do it the easy way. I mean, there was not enough thought given to the interface design to make it a seamless process to make additions.
Mm.
I mean, you gotta just have a standard that is well documented and basically you have to think out the additions in the design of the first one. That can't be an afterthought.
Mm.
So, for example, right now, as we do the greenhouse, we need to think about, okay, well, what happens if we wanted to make it bigger or smaller, or
Yes.
we should think about all those issues. Like, is this going to be, how do you facilitate if you wanted to add on to it or whatever? Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, it's
Lot of research on that page.
yeah, it's some good work here that definitely is moving forward. Now adding the aquaponics for food production is a big one. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yes. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So you're pretty busy this week, and then you're going on vacation. So we should talk again. When should we touch in next? Because I mean, I'd like if you have any time. I mean, when's the next time we could
Yes.
just meet
Um.
to keep discussing this and
What
move it
what
forward?
what would you like? How do would you like me to work on this? I mean, would you like to contract me to do paid job, or you want me to do that? I can just contribute to the project, like the same as I contribute to open source stuff.
Right.
Uh, I mean, for free, but then I go slower
Right.
because I must let my paid work pass first.
Right.
Um, so it depends a bit. I don't know what you guys want, but
Yeah.
I feel uncomfortable to do paid job
Mm-hmm.
for that because it's not like it's hard for me to give you like
Mm-hmm.
a result, a
Right.
concrete result that I can deliver, and I find it hard to take someone's money uh, without being able to promise something.
Right.
And so I'm not sure, not too
Yeah,
sure
no,
what.
I think we know what, we gotta get your time and get pay for the ability to get us up to speed, to get some basic design, and hopefully through this process, as we do the greenhouse, the end product will be, we've got a greenhouse design, but more than that, we've got a tool chain that we can start
Yeah.
teaching people. So, so we definitely want to get your time in on that, so to pay you for that, to guarantee your time. And we can,
Okay.
just keep checking in on these meetings like the next 2 weeks if you're available, but then talk about, laying out the work plan and
Yes, we could do
discussing
that.
those details. Like what would
Mm.
be the deliverables and expected
Yeah.
times. Yeah, definitely. Because
Okay. Definitely, I can work on this. Like, start building the greenhouse, start importing pieces from those existing SketchUp things, organize things between what could become shareable modules and stuff, and to build libraries and that kind of stuff.
Yep, yep. So that's what we want to do, and whatever you do, like, um, of course, document it. And I think you've shown that you can document well. Like you showed me the 19-page document, the intro document. That's great. I wanna just put that online, and we can continue.
Mm.
I'll put that online, and we'll just continue working on that, so that
Okay.
I'm basically going through it, and I'll just write questions, and we'll make it into our official training course for
Uh,
FreeCAD. I'm hoping that after this, with the greenhouse as the first example, we can build a curriculum around that, so we can offer that as something that we teach in our skills training for our
uh,
community. Yeah. Now here's the other thing. If you right now we have, so just tentatively speaking about schedules, if you're going to be deployed on this in June, I could see that by the end of June, if we actually have you working on that as a priority, I mean we can definitely get the design going. In which case we can talk about putting forth the workshop at the end of July, which would
Yes,
work for us.
actually, if we can like speed things up by reusing some piece of the SketchUp material that you guys have.
Yep.
And let's say there is no blueprint at the moment, so everything that's coming would already be a benefit. Then yes, I think
Right.
it's possible to have quite a lot during June.
Yeah. Um, that's right. So, and Chris Reinhardt has the original Microhouse 1 and 2 documents. If you can't find any of the files that are on his log, feel free to email him. Let's see, I'll give you his email. So Chris Reinhardt is who we had doing that. He was with us as our architecture guy back in 2013. So all the
I've seen
files should
many.
be there. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
no, okay, but
yeah,
I hadn't seen there is so much SketchUp stuff already.
yeah,
So there's actually a lot of stuff,
yeah, yeah. And
and it's good basis. We can really use that in FreeCAD.
yeah, that's great. And if we can document, let's document how that process happens, because I mean that's one of the tool chains we need to
Yes.
document. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to see, if you want to go through our albums on that are still online, for any of the construction work, that construction detail, which would be relevant. Here's this. It has all our. That was our photo repository. It was an open source equivalent to Flickr, but that was Trovebucks, but that went down actually. So that's going down, but it's still up for a little bit more time. Yep. Now here's the other thing. If you're involved in this, do you want to come to the States? Can we invite you for the actual workshop? Did you ever do?
Would be cool, but if it's pretty soon, not sure I would be able to do it.
Right now, I mean, right now on the schedule, it looks like it's possible for the end of July. So, and as we go into June, and like first 2 weeks of June, we'll see where we are. Then we can discuss that if you're by any chance able to meet it. Because the way we do it, like if you'd be an instructor, what I would like to do personally is have a 3-day workshop where the first day would be FreeCAD and Blender crash course. And then the second day is the build of the aquaponics, second and third day.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So that we're taking advantage of the ability to train our community and generate real education materials.
It's called just that. Let me check that. Because I have there is a conference, an open source conference I would be going to.
What conference?
It's Fizzle. It's a free software conference in Brazil. And I will give a talk there. Let me just see when it is, because I never know.
Fizzle?
Fizzle. FISL.
Hmm. It's in Portuguese?
Yes.
It says 8 to 11 July.
Yes, exactly. So it's beginning of July.
It's national or international?
It's international, actually.
It's English?
It's in Portuguese because it's in Brazil, but the talks are a bit half is in English and the rest is in Spanish and Portuguese.
Oh, that's cool. So, oh man, is that a big conference? How many people?
Yeah, it's pretty big. I
Hmm.
don't know how many
Oh
people
wow. So
it's
is that
gonna
the
be.
biggest free software it's a free and open source software conference?
I'm not sure it's the biggest one because there are a couple of big ones now.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one I went in Brussels earlier this year is also big, but it's the biggest one in Latin America, and it's one of the biggest ones in the world.
So it's the biggest one in Latin America, and it's pretty much everyone from Latin America comes in.
Yeah.
Did you go to this before?
Yes, once.
Was it good?
Yeah, pretty good. Actually,
Yeah.
lots of conference, and
Huh.
President of Brazil was there, and that guy from Pirate Bay was there, and it was
Oh
pretty
wow.
cool, pretty active. And
President of Brazil? They care about it? They
yes,
care about open source? Yeah,
yes, a
right?
lot actually.
Yeah.
And
What's the is Brazil one of the more active countries in South America in open source, or what other countries are there that are really supportive on the government level?
no, definitely it's the most active one because you have lots of government incentive for free software.
So
And
Brazil is the main champion in South America?
sorry, what?
Brazil is the main champion of open source in South America?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. That's good. Well, we're going to the source.
Uh,
All right. That's good.
so yeah, I will be there by that time. Or the rest of July, I guess it will be possible.
Yeah, so let's talk about it early
Yeah,
June if that's going to be feasible at all. Yeah. Can talk about where we are. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
cool.
very nice. So, okay, so next meeting, can we set up a meeting for next time?
Yeah.
When would you be available?
Okay. Anytime actually. After in 2 weeks.
Okay. Can we check in like maybe next week, or you're on vacation?
Next week I'm on vacation.
Okay.
I will be out of office.
Okay. So out of the office.
So that would be beginning of June. I will be back here in the weekend of the 30th.
Saturday or
So
Saturday the 30th? You're
yes.
back? Okay, so maybe
So
Monday?
Monday is perfect.
Monday the 1st. That's
Okay.
that sounds good.
What
Monday the
time?
1st. Do you want to try for 11 a.m. CST?
That's
Which
one
is,
o'clock for me. It's okay.
does that work for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. So, like today, that was at 2 p.m., so it was 3 hours. So it's 3 hours
Yeah.
earlier than today, yeah?
Exactly.
Excellent. Okay, excellent. So next time, let's cover like what the work plan would be for getting this aquaponics structure. Like right now, our train of thought on it is
Hmm.
to invite, if we can invite you and get that as an opportunity to learn FreeCAD and open design with you as a leader of that and FreeCAD and all that. I was also looking at, if possible, invite some of the heavy hitters, some of the subject matter experts in aquaponics, so that
Mhm.
we really nail this as an open source, a nice open source initiative on open aquaponics and mixing the architecture part and aquaponics design, which would be, I think, a very exciting thing. Hmm.
Cool.
Excellent. We shall talk then, and if I have questions, I'm gonna keep going through your document, and if I have questions, I'll let you know. Yeah.
Perfect.
Excellent. So I look forward to this. So have a happy holiday,
Thank
relaxing,
you.
and
Okay, I will.
okay. Take care
Okay,
then.
see you then.
Uh huh. Bye bye.
Bye.